Hi, my name is Matrona Deftica Ward, founder of Family Legacy Planning Firm, and this is another 5-Minute Friday. So today we're going to talk about common mistakes that are made in will-based and trust-based plans. So first off, a lot of people don't plan for both right now and 20 years in the future. When they're getting their plan done, they're either thinking about what they're going to need in the near future, prices that they're about to move, they're thinking about, oh, I'm going to sell this house, so I really need to put this in the trust. Or they're thinking, 20 years in the future, I want everything to go to my grandkids. Well, yes, but it's also possible that you might need this plan now, unfortunately. And I have had clients who book their appointment for their consultation and have passed away before their estate plan was complete. So it's not as uncommon as you might think, and it's important to get a plan that'll work for both instances. If we want to think about 20 years in the future, a good lawyer and a good plan will be kept up to date every 3 years. In fact, for my clients, I offer keeping plans up to date and reviewing them every 3 years at no charge. And there's only a charge if an update is actually needed. That way they don't have to be afraid to call me with a life event or a question to see if their plan needs to be updated. When you have a good relationship with your lawyer like that, you can avoid this mistake. Mistake number 2, getting overly complicated. I've seen that the more complicated a plan is, the more likely it is to be litigated. And yet that does correlate with the amount of money in the plan, but also when things are not clear to the beneficiaries who are reading it, it ends up being where people read it in a way that's most favorable to themselves. And then they think that there must be something wrong when that isn't really the case. So I just reviewed a will recently for a client who, it was unclear who had to die for the certain property to pass to another member of the family, and what happened if they were deceased before. And it was all just a big mess. There were 10 different members of the family clamoring over the same piece of property because the succession of it was really unclear in their plan. So if a complex provision is really important to you and you want to have it included in your plan, give it a look over and make sure that it is easily understandable to a person of average intelligence taking a look at it. And if not, you might want to think about rewording or clarifying that provision. The third common mistake in wills and trusts is no accountability of trustees. Now, this isn't something you want to have to think about because you want to think that a trustee would really take care of your wishes the way you set them forth. But I just last year had this, I was involved in a case where the trustee was also a beneficiary, one of 8 beneficiaries, and the 8 beneficiaries who were getting paid out over time decided they all wanted it right now. That wasn't the wishes of the person making the trust, the grantor, but that was certainly the wishes of the beneficiaries, and without an independent trustee to stop them, there really wasn't any accountability. There's no trust police that's going to come raid that account and say you can't do that. The accountability mechanism is in the trustee. And if everybody agrees with the trustee going against your wishes, there's no accountability there. So what you could do to avoid that is to rethink the complicated distribution provision, or you could put it into a mechanism that pays out over time, such as instructing the trustee to buy a financial product like an annuity. Or you could choose an independent trustee that's much less likely to just bend to the whim of other family members who decided that they want their payout sooner. Number 4. A mistake that I've seen a few times here in California is disposing of firearms improperly. There are very specific rules for how you are able to distribute firearms and dispose of them. And if those rules aren't followed, then you're really not going to be getting what you're expecting with that. The most likely outcome is that they will be liquidated to an authorized dealer and that the funds, the proceeds, will go to your beneficiaries rather than the firearms themselves. Now, that might not be a terrible outcome for you, but if you're a collector and you want things to go a certain way, you're going to want to make sure that you get a firearms trust or consider other ways to dispose of your firearms. The 5th and final common mistake in a will or trust is just trying to do it yourself. Even a handwritten will can be valid under certain circumstances, but those can go wrong. So there are lots of provisions that you might forget to put in there that would really affect things going as you intended in your mind. For instance, did you know that certain people can't be an executor if they don't have good credit? So did you remember to waive a bond and provide that they can be the executor even if they don't have good credit? Did you provide for what happens if a beneficiary can't take the property or doesn't want the property? Is it going to go to their children, or is it going to go on to the next beneficiary? Is it going to go to your next of kin? A properly designed plan will have contingencies in place for that. Did you provide for all of your property, or did you leave a partial will that only disposes of part of it and leaves part of your property still going by the intestacy provisions that the state has provided for you? Did you consider co-owners of your land or existing bank account? A lawyer can help you walk through some of these choices so that you can make sure that everything is provided for and nothing falls through the cracks, that you're going to have a plan that works when you need it. We want to make sure that your wishes are truly honored when the time comes. That's it for today. Thank you.